Meet me. Welcome back, boys. So today's going to be a mini guide video because as you guys know, I already did a guide on how to do expeditions, but the Destructive Gigantes is a relatively new addition, and some of you guys may still not have a team to easily farm this boss. So we're going to go over number 1, the boss's mechanics, and then number 2, some suggested teams for taking him out, and throughout it, I'll show you my own team in action. So let's get started. Alright, so let's talk about this new expedition boss. He's actually extremely straightforward, but we'll go over all his skills one by one. So first of all, he always summons this invincible cannon. You can't kill it, so don't even bother trying. And he only has one attack. He'll attack your entire team and increase skill cooldown by 1 turn. You can resist this. I don't know how much effect resist you need to do it consistently. And if he hits you, it's always a critical hit. And again, you cannot kill him, so don't even bother trying to DPS him down. Second, he has kind of the same thing as the other expedition bosses. After 11 turns, he resets his S3 cooldown, one-shots you, and it also has extinction. The only thing I've seen that survives this is stuff with immortality like Kayron. And also, when attacking, he does 70% more damage to light elemental heroes, so it's in your best interest to not bring any light heroes or they may get one-tapped. Quake. This is just a basic attack, you don't have to care about it. This, if you have 4 or more buffs when they attack you, he'll attack with this as an extra attack, and when he hits a non-knight, the damage dealt is increased. Again, this is the same as the other expedition bosses. You always need a knight in the front, and don't let it be a light knight. Like, I can't even think, like LR Crow maybe. Now his S3 is his main gimmick like all the other expedition bosses, and the main gimmick here is this electrocute debuff. So he's going to electrocute you for 4 turns, and then he dispels all debuffs from all allies, which is kind of annoying on an auto team, because depending on your turn order, like let's say I use my Dizzy, she can theoretically Dizzy S3 right before he uses this, and then all of that gets removed. This move also ignores effect resistance. So the key here is the electrocute does damage to your entire team anytime someone who has it gets a turn. So if F. Flurry has it, your whole team is going to get electrocuted. Now, what you want to do to remove it is use a non-attack skill. So any non-attack skill will remove this debuff. So the idea is to bring people without attack skills, and then your whole team isn't just stacking electrocute on each other. But in practice, it doesn't really do that much damage, so if you bring a team that has at least half of them that are able to remove it, you'll probably be okay. At the higher levels, like level 3, maybe you'll bring 3 that can get rid of it, but at level 2, you can even get away with having only 1 person get rid of it, but you can't cleanse it. The only way to get rid of it is to use something that isn't considered an attack, like F. Flurry's S3. The other important thing to note is because this stupid cannon thing is repeatedly pushing your skills back, you want to disable it somehow. That's why I bring Dizzy. With Dizzy, this thing is constantly being pushed back and stunned and slowed. You really need that, otherwise it'll keep pushing your skills back and it gets very annoying. Other than that, this boss is really straightforward. You just tank and spank and try and disable the cannon as long as possible while nuking the boss down. So let's go ahead with suggested teams. Alright, so topic 2, let's go over the heroes that are good for this expedition boss. And I'll show you my own auto team in action. So obviously, like I said, you want at least 2 heroes that can cleanse that electrocute debuff off of themselves. Obviously, more is better. Arbiter Vildred's great here because he could CR push back the cannon, apply things like blind, and also you get some breathing room because the electrocute won't kill him because he'll just revive, and Dizzy's here to keep this cannon under control. So essentially what you need is try not to bring light units. If you're going to, make sure it's not the front line or it's going to get one-shotted. If you have a light DPS like LQC, maybe you can get away with it, but even that I would probably discourage. You want at least 1 hero with AoE control, especially if you're planning on auto. If you're going to manual this, you can have a very different philosophy, but I don't believe in manualing any kind of content like this, especially when you have to kill this boss like 40 times. So you really want an auto team to make this feasible for the long run. So you want an AoE control. Dizzy is fantastic because, as you can see, she pushes the cannon back. She could stun the cannon. The cannon's vulnerable to pretty much every debuff. And another great replacement, which is probably even better actually, is Fire Tenebria because she could also defense break the boss. For DPS, Arbiter Vildred is great, but really the DPS is the least important slot. You can use just about anything in the game that does a significant amount of damage, but good choices are also things like ML Lulu, Arbiter Vildred's obviously great, but really it doesn't matter what it is as long as it does a lot of damage. Frontline Knight, yeah, if you don't have F. Clury built, another great option is Lilius because she turn cycles pretty fast as well, and with the S2, she can remove the Electrocute debuff. But F. Clury turn cycles much faster than Lilius, which is why I prefer her. But Lilius does have that nice dual attack, the full cleanse, doesn't really matter all that much, but she can push back the cannon with DS3 as well. So Lilius is also a very solid choice for the knight if you don't have F. Clury built. You will need a Soul Weaver probably to out-heal some of this damage. Obviously, Tamarin is amazing in all PvE content. So Tamarin's a great choice here. If you don't have Tamarin, you're crazy because everyone should have Tamarin. But if you really don't have her, you can use any Soul Weaver like Dien, Kazuna AI. Ideally, you'll bring an attack buff so you can really maximize the points. But if you're watching what's going on here, like this cannon hasn't really gotten a turn. It's stunned, it's slowed, it's all the way back on the CR bar. The Gigantes thing can cleanse it every time he has threes, but again, it's not a big deal. With this auto team I have, depending on RNG with the defense breaks and dual attacks and stuff like that, it generally ends between 500 and 800,000 damage for a level 2 expedition boss. No one's really posting a level 3, so I haven't done those. But I'm sure if you're doing level 3, this will probably work fine as well. You might want to bring one more way to remove Electrocute, though. Maybe replace one of these things with Issaria, Lilius, Tamarin, things like that. You might want to have 3 heroes that can remove the Electrocute if you're going to try and do level 3s. But with that out of the way, those are my suggested heroes. It's actually not a very difficult boss as long as you follow these fundamentals. Have a knight in front that isn't light, have a DPS, ideally you'll bring an attack buff and a defense break, and bring something like a Dizzy, an AoE control unit like Fire Tenebria to make sure that that stupid little cannon isn't constantly resetting your cooldowns. So let's go ahead and fast forward to the end of this boss now. Alright, so we're nearing the end of the road here, and as you can see, I am going to end between 500 and 800,000, like I said. So it's a reasonably effective strategy, especially considering that all these things are on PvP gear, and in the case of everything except Arbiter, on pretty bad gear. With better gear, you could probably do even better. If you really wanted to min-max, I'd use something like Fire Tenebria. But anyways, that's about it for this guide video. I kind of just wanted to make this for the people who really haven't been able to do it yet. Like I said, not the hardest boss. And if you have any questions or comments, feel free to leave it in the comment section below. But really, this is just a small addendum to my existing expedition guide. So I hope this guide helped you guys out, and thanks for watching. Till next time, boys, peace out.